Hello and welcome to the JSP lecture series. The full form of JSP is Java Server Pages. Let's see what we are going to talk about JSP in this lecture series. We will be talking about a general introduction to JSP, then we'll see features of JSP, what is the life cycle of JSP, we'll talk about JSP architecture, JSP processing, then we'll see what is the JSP syntax that is also known as JSP elements, most commonly known as JSP directives, JSP scriptlets, JSP expressions, and how we can perform commenting in the JSP. We'll also talk about JSP objects, action handling in the JSP, and JSP variables, JSP methods. Then we'll see how we can share data between JSP pages, and we'll learn a lot more in this lecture series. So let's begin with the introduction to the JSP. As we all know the stance, the full form of the JSP is Java Server Pages. These are the pages that reside or that acts from the server end, and they contain the Java code. It is a server-side technology. As we know, in any website or any web application, there are two main sides, the client side and the server side. So just to handle the client side, we need client-side technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And to handle the server request and response criterias, we need server-side technologies like JSP. So we can also have other server-side technologies. For example, we have PHP, Python, Java itself. And here, this is JSP is a server-side technology that handles the backend interaction with the database and all the processing at the server side. It is used to create web applications. It's a web application or web technology. It is used to create dynamic web content that is interacting with the databases of the applications. JSP tags are used to insert Java code into HTML pages. Basically, this is Java code that is inserted into HTML, and such pages are known as JSP, Java Server Pages. JSP is the advanced version of Servlet technology. If you have heard about the Servlet technology, that is the core Java code reside on the server side, and it's the Servlet technology. So it's the advanced version of the Servlet technology. And finally, the Java server pages are converted to servlets. It is a web-based technology and helps us in creating the dynamic and platform-independent web page. That means we can create the web pages on any platform, and then we can execute them or we can use them on any other platform. And this Java code can be inserted in HTML or even XML pages. We can insert this Java code on both XML and HTML. And JSP is first converted into servlet and by JSP container before processing the client's request. As I have already told you, the JSP is converted to servlets. Let's see what are the features of the JSP. Coding in JSP is easy. As we can see, once the JSP code is converted to servlets, then why we should not use servlets? Because in servlets, coding is not that easy. But JSP is user-friendly and coding is easy, and we can just add Java code into the HTML or XML pages. It reduces the length of the code that was in compared to the servlets. It reduces the length of the code. We use action tags and custom tags that helps us in the reduction of the code length. We perform connection to database in much easier way. It is easy to connect websites with the database and allow read or write applications or read or write operations easily to the database with the help of the JSP. With the help of JSP, we can make interactive websites, we can create dynamic web pages, and we can help user to interact in real-time environment. It is portable, powerful, flexible, and easy to maintain. All the powers that are here with the JSP: portability, powerful, and flexibility. No redeployment and no recompilation is required as it is dynamic, secure, and platform independent. So we do not need to redeploy this, and even we do not need to recompile this. It is an extension to the servlets. As we have already seen, it includes all the features of the servlets like implicit objects and custom tags. So it is the extension to the servlets and a better technology than servlets. Let's see how this JSP pages go. We can see we need to create the source file, let's say with the extension .jsp. This is the first .jsp. Then this is translated to a Java file, that is first underscore JSP. And then this Java file is compiled to Java class, and then this Java class is finally loaded as a servlet into the server. So we can see that this JSP is finally being converted into servlets. So these JSP pages are converted into servlets by the web container. The web container is responsible for converting these JSP pages into servlet pages. The container translates the JSP page into servlet class and then compiles into a Java servlet class. So this is we had already seen how a JSP page is converted to the servlets with the help of the web container. Let's talk about the life cycle of the JSP. So following are the JSP life cycle steps. We had seen a little bit in the previous slide. The translation of JSP to servlet code, the first step. Then we compile the servlet to bytecode, the next step. And then this servlet code is loaded. The servlet class is loaded. Then we create the servlet instance. Then the initialization of this is performed by calling JSP init method. Then request is processed by calling JSP service method, and finally this is destroyed by calling JSP destroy method. So we have JSP init to initialize, then we have JSP service to process the request, and then finally JSP destroy to destroy the JSP page. So this is the life cycle of the JSP. Next, this life cycle is can easily be understood with this simple diagram. Here we have a simple hello.jsp source file. Then it will go and be converted to the hello underscore jsp.java. That's it. The Java code has been converted. Then we will create the class file of this Java code, and this is with the help of the web container converted into a servlet, and it is loaded. So we can see this is a web container. This is a complete web container that calls all the methods associated with the JSP. It will begin with the JSP init. So we'll begin with the JSP init, and then we can call JSP service to perform the request servicing of the client, and then we finally destroy this page with the call of the JSP destroy. All this happens inside the web container. Now let's talk about the architecture. The web server needs a JSP engine. This JSP engine is responsible to process JSP pages. The JSP container is responsible for intercepting the request for JSP pages. We can use Apache or any such JSP engine which has built-in JSP container, and this supports the JSP page development. So we can use web servers like Apache. It's most commonly used web server to run and handle the JSP pages and its development. A JSP container works with the web server. So this is Apache as a web server we can use to provide the runtime environment and other services that JSP needs. It knows how to understand the special elements that are part of the JSP, like scriptlets, directives, the other expressions and all. Following diagram shows the position of the JSP container and JSP file in a web application. You can see this is a web server like Apache installed on any machine. Inside that web server, we'll be having all the JSP files stored. So these are all the JSP files stored inside the web server on a machine. This has bidirectional interaction with the database. This database will contain all the information that can be accessed by the server or by these JSP files. The request will be served through the internet to all the clients on different machines. Either it is on Mac or on Unix or on Windows. That stays confirms the feature of the JSP, that's the portability. So we can port this response to any of the clients, any of the type of the clients. Now let's see what is JSP processing. As with a normal page, your browser sends HTTP request to the web server. First of all, once of all we open any web page in the browser, it sends the HTTP request to web servers. Now the web server recognizes that HTTP request and that it is for a JSP page and forwards it to the JSP engine. Once the browser recognizes the HTTP request and identifies whether it is for a JSP page, it is forwarded to the JSP engine. This is done by the using URL or JSP page which ends with .jsp instead of .html. So this is the way how it has been recognized that a JSP page with extension .jsp. The JSP engine loads the JSP page from the disk and converts it into the servlet content. This conversion is very simple, in which all the templates text is converted to println and statements, and all the JSP elements are converted to Java codes. JSP elements like directives, like scriptlets or expressions, all these things are converted to simple Java code. And this code is implemented responding. It finally implements the response and dynamic behavior of the web page. The JSP engine compiles the servlet into an executable class, and this executable class is forwarded to the original request to a servlet engine. A part of this web server is called servlet engine that loads the servlet class and then executes it. During the execution, the servlet produces an output in HTML format because we have the browsers and final results are rendered into the HTML format which we see as a web page on our browser. The output is further passed on to the web server by the servlet engine inside an HTTP response. The web server forwards the HTTP response to the browser, to the client's browser who has requested that particular services, and that is in the form of a static HTML content. Now finally, the web browser handles dynamically this generated HTML pages inside the HTTP response, exactly as it is a static web page. So we will learn about all this, what is the HTTP request, HTTP response, how it is done. We will learn through the examples as well. This is a simple diagram explaining the JSP processing that we had seen. So you can see this is a client will send a request in the form of the JSP web page. This JSP web page will be received by the server and where the JSP container will reside. This JSP container, on identifying that the request is a JSP page, will convert this into the servlet. So this is being converted into the servlet, and then servlet is converted into the class file, and the response is prepared and then sent back to the client by this JSP server, sent back to the client as like a static HTML page. So this is how the JSP request is processed and a response is sent back to the client. So this is what we have studied in today's lesson. In the upcoming lessons, we will be talking about the JSP environment and JSP syntax and lots of things. That's it for the today's lesson. We'll meet into the next lesson of this lecture series. Thank you so much.